nature, whether
It's great when things just fit. AWS tailors solutions for your business, big or
just F&O driven or something else. Remember, there's this Jackson Hole Symposium as well. But this is a very sharp decline. In fact, let's pull out that graphic once again for fall from highs. On the Nifty, it's 236 points. Let's pull out Bank Nifty as well because it's broken now 39,000. Now it will be about averaging, right? At 3:30, the last 30-minute VWAP would be taken into account. So in that sense, I mean, sometimes the options give you a better picture. The 39,000 put on the Bank Nifty is at around 40 rupees. On the Nifty, if you see 17,600 put is somewhere around 87, 88. So it looks like the expiry would be somewhere around 17,520 or thereabout, the adjusted close. Of course, still about 16 minutes left, so a lot could change. But Mitesh is back with us for BTST calls. Mitesh, you reckon this is a bit of a change of trend, or is it just expiry-driven adjustment? Of course, you've seen many expiries, so you would have seen this kind of move. Tell us what it means for the index and your BTST calls.
Anuj, I think actually I'm trying to figure this out because one, we were always of the opinion that this market is not getting into an uptrend despite the bounce back for the last 2 days and today morning. So yes, it was a contracting market. It's kind of sold off slightly early than what I expected. I thought the rally will possibly head closer to 17,800, but maybe 17,720 becomes your high for the time being, and 17,400, 17,350 zone remains your support area. So I think this is a market which is contracting. Strong supply pressure, as we saw in the last 30 minutes, could be partly due to the expiry factor as well. So I think the index, I would say, as I've been maintaining, try to buy on dips closer to 17,400. Otherwise, just stay out, because this is a market which is come out of the uptrend and is getting into consolidation or contracting choppy market. So for the time being, difficult to trade the index. I have a sell or a STBT on GNFC, which is breaking down. That's STBT with a stop at about levels of 727.5 for targets of 710. And India Mart is on the buying side after a long time, or a BTST call here. This I would recommend a BTST with a stop at about 42.45 for targets of 43.20.
Okay, all right, Mitesh, thanks a lot for that. Well, the markets are taking a hard knock. We're still holding below that 17,500 odd mark. Interesting times. Nifty Bank, that's been brutal actually out there, because that's corrected more than 500 points from the high point of the day. But let's get you some inputs that we got from a lot of managements. Lupin, that was the stock in focus earlier today. They're yet to receive approval for the key inhaler drug, Spiriva generic. We spoke to Mr. Ramesh Swaminathan of Lupin earlier today. He said that the company expects approval for this generic by Q4. Let's hear him out.
Even at the beginning of this year, we did talk about the fact that the most important event for this particular year would of course be Spiriva itself. We do have a CRL on that, and that is the reason why we didn't get an approval in August. But having said that, we're still very, very confident that we would be able to resolve it and potentially get an approval by the end of the fourth quarter. So fourth quarter launch is exactly where we think it would be. A couple of therapy areas are still growing. It should be inhalations and injectables, so to speak. So that's been our focus area as well. In fact, we have been shifting gradually from OSD, which is actually going through a lot of change, into more complex generics, which is essentially into inhalation space and complex injectables, and of course the biosimilar space itself. Confidence levels remain pretty high on this, so we are very confident that we'll be able to answer that. We need to, of course, go back to, and which you should be doing very shortly. This would, of course, not, from our perspective, not inhibit our ability to come out, with the product by the end of this, fiscal.
Okay, all right. Well, the market's fairly volatile, so good time to get in Amrish Palika, our market expert. Amrish, normally when you join us, you give us one stock that you're tracking closely. The markets are very volatile, by the way, as of now. But you prefer to take a bit of a contra call. Most of the experts I speak to, they talk about the CV space when they want to buy autos. But you want to get onto a two-wheeler and zoom ahead? Give us a rationale. Which is the stock?
Good afternoon, Nigel. My stock today is Hero MotoCorp. Basically, if you look at the Q1 numbers, the performance was more or less in line with what the market expectation was, although EBITDA numbers are a bit lower. Now we are seeing the beginning of the festive season with Ganpati coming, and post that you will have the Durga Puja and then Diwali. So, we'll be having the festive season for the next couple of months. And because of which we should see two-wheeler demand rising. And especially in rural India, though we have seen that sowing this year is slightly lower than last year, but still looking at the lower base effect, I think you'll see a very decent two-wheeler demand. And as far as Hero is concerned, the June mean inventory levels were quite low. It's about 6 to 7 weeks. So I think inventory buildup will also happen this quarter. They've taken 2 price hikes in the last 4 months. April they increased by 850 average and about 1,200 in July. And now with the commodity prices coming down, I think the EBITDA should improve. In fact, I'm looking at a 15% EBITDA for FY24. And if you look at the partnerships with Ather Energy and Harley Davidson, I think this will give them that decent sort of a scope in EVs and premium segment bikes. At the same time, I'm also expecting that there should be a launch of a EV two-wheeler during the festive season. So all these are those positive triggers which should be coming. In fact, looking at a FI at 24 EPS of about 210 and giving it just about a 16x, which is lower than the historic average, I should get a target price of about 3,360.
Okay, 3,360. Well, given the situation, traffic situation in Mumbai, I would love to go back to bikes. I'm just banned from driving bikes, so obviously I can't, but just crazy the situation. Amrish, hi, good afternoon. A word on IT stocks. IT stocks, anything that you would buy now?
IT, I think the only stock or only 1 or 2 stocks which I will possibly look at buying would be TCS and KPIT. Otherwise, I'm a bit sort of cautious you can say bearish on IT for the time being, looking at the way the costs are going up, margin would be under pressure, and looking at the slowdown in the global economy. I suppose the order flows would be lower than possibly what the managements have been talking of. They've been quite optimistic, but I'm not that optimistic on the order flows. So I think that should play out over the next 3 to 4 quarters. So from that point of view, I would possibly stay away.
Okay, Amrish, stay with us. There's about 9 minutes to go for close. We are down 100 clean points. 17,500 is where we find ourselves at. More with Amrish in terms of individual stock talk, and of course we'll wrap things out for you as well when we return.
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाइड क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
हमारी कार It's great when things just fit. AWS tailors solutions for your business, big or small, helping you scale, supporting sustainability, driving new efficiencies with machine learning, powering your collaboration, and keeping your finances secure. From media to manufacturing to healthcare and more, we're the perfect fit for your business. With the most experience in cloud computing, AWS is how.
कितने में निकलेगी सर? ये वाह, यस सर, OLX ऑटोज ही देता है आपकी कार का बेस्ट प्राइस। सुनीता, सुना तुमने ये क्या बोल रहे हैं?
यही कि OLX ऑटोज ही देता है आपकी कार का बेस्ट प्राइस।
बाबूजी, सुना आपने? सुनीता क्या बोल रही है?
ये सब यही बोल रहे हैं कि ये प्राइस ही नहीं सरप्राइज है। Visit olxautos.in.
Some folks dream of easy access to airport services. Some have ease of a card. Be it lounge access, meet and assist, spa services, and more. And what powers their credit and debit card is Dream Folks, India's largest airport services aggregator platform. Dream Folks.
कंस्ट्रक्शन बहुत तगड़ा है।
क्या भाई साहब, जो साइट विजिट ना दिखाए 99 एकर्स बताए। घर लेना हो या बेचना, एक्सपर्ट से ही पूछना। 99acres.com.
All right, 6 minutes to close. So welcome back. The market's trying to make a bit of a comeback. You were down 100 plus. We are down 86 now. Fast-moving market, fast-moving prices. Amrish, of course, is still with us. Amrish outlined why he likes Hero MotoCorp ahead of the festive season. Amrish, run us through the other many ideas that you've sort of outlined for our viewers over the last, I mean, in a way, a bit of a stock taking. What is working? Where, would you like to make any corrections? Your ideas are always interesting. They're usually out of favor names.
Right.
Pick them when others don't want to, which is, I guess, the right way to do it. But if you want to, a bit of stock taking, yeah.
I think quite a few of them have done decently well. I mean, I don't think there were too many big blunders as such. I suppose the blunder would have been Alembic Pharma, which has corrected decently well. But again, at these levels, I would suggest it's a good time to average out. But the stocks which have done well, I mean, I've recommended Coal India in the past, which has done extremely well. ITC, when I think everyone was saying it's a sell, you should be looking at it. There were, enough number of jokes going around for ITC. And from there, it's given me more than 50% sort of a return. In fact, a stock like Mahindra Holidays, which I've been recommending for a while, I think that's done extremely well. I suppose this is just the beginning. I think it's got either 2 to 3 year runway from here. And I'll not really be surprised if that becomes a multi-bagger.
So Mahindra Holidays are saying to continue holding on to. I just want to ask my director to pull up the other couple of stocks that you mentioned, Coal India as well as ITC. In 2022 so far, those are the bigger gainers, from the Nifty pack itself. Amrish, you have made good money out here. What are the levels you're looking at on both these two stocks, Coal India as well as ITC? Those ESG concerns, the memes, all went out of the window.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, I had a target of about 280 on ITC, which again, I mean, I had to revise. And now the target is 350, which I suppose, closer to that, I'll revise it to nearly 400. So I think this is one stock which I think one can continue to hold, at least from a foreseeable 1.5 to 2 years perspective. Something like a Coal India, possibly, I mean, I will like at least book out to a certain extent. Once I see levels of about 350, 360 or so.
And Mahindra Holidays, hold on, right?
Mahindra Holidays, I think, hold on, because I see this as a multi-bagger. Because, that big story should start playing out in the next year and a half or two. And like I said earlier, the big story is going to be those resorts becoming free, absolutely free for them.
Okay.
And they will start selling those subscriptions for the next 25 years. Because, the subscription period is 25 years, and that's getting over for the first resort. And after this, every year you'll have enough number of resorts coming up which will become free.
Amrish, just quickly, Coal India, you said you'll book out some positions, but the broader trend for Coal India is what? I mean, what is the ultimate target you have for it?
It's about like levels of about 350, but then I'll start booking out possibly at about 250, 260 levels.
All right, Amrish, thanks a lot for joining us. Have a good evening. Mitesh will thank you as well. Talk to you tomorrow, of course. Let's now start wrapping up the market action for the day. The Nifty is down about 100 points, but that's half the story. From the highest point, the Nifty slipped well over 200 points. The Bank Nifty from the highest point slipped well over 500 points. So, the point I keep repeating, the last hour is the most important hour for the market, because the market's vulnerable to these kind of moves on both sides. In terms of stocks which drag the markets, You had TCS and Infosys among the frontline IT space which were dragging. The HDFC twins were down. Normally these stocks do make a move on expiry day. There was decline in L&T, ITC as well, which was lower. Then of course you had Bajaj Finance, which was down 2%. Adani Ports was down 2%. Power Grid, NTPC, Nestle, Sun Pharma. These were some other names on the downside. On the upside, you had a couple of these commodity names. Hindalco was up 1%. Shree Cement did well. Divi's Labs after one-way decline was higher. And Eicher Motors in a weak market made a 52-week high and actually closed there. That's telling you something about the relative strength in the automobile space. Even Maruti was looking quite interesting. But the broader market, Prashant, actually didn't do that badly. It looked like more of a index play on expiry.
I mean, although things did worsen quite a bit, Anuj. So when we started at 230, it was 1400 higher, 700 lower. By close, it's 1100 higher and 1050 lower. So the gap narrowed big time. Let me just run through some large gainers. RBL Bank was up another 5.5. It's at 130 now. United Spirits was up 5%, big volumes. BHEL started in the morning, ends up 8%. PNB, of course, has been mentioned here on the show. L&T Finance did well yesterday, another 7% today, 80 rupees. Crompton saw a breakout. Mitesh had it as part of one of his trades, 5.5. IDBI has been strong, 7-8% higher. Time Technoplast about 9.5% in the green. Kirloskar Engines 10.5% higher. IDFC was up, is at almost about 65, 66 today. Uflex 5.5%, and so on and so forth. Actually, lots of gainers